Yeah, and welcome to Easy Tips to Supercharge Your Solo. We'll do 3 tips, right? The first one is all about the chords. So, if I'm using a progression, say E to B to A, C sharp minor to B, super popular progression, can't even talk, from Green Day to Sublime to Hendrix to, there's a billion people, all sorts of pop, super popular progression. Okay, so if I do that progression, since it's E major, I'm assuming we can use E major pentatonic, right? So right, works good. Okay, so we know that it's an E major. We know that we can use E major pentatonic. The chords are what's key to the melody, okay? Now, the easiest way to do that is to look through our positions in the pentatonic scale, right? Without having to know the modes, look through each position to find those chords. So, if we took our chord progression, E, B, A, C sharp minor, back to B, we can find that in position 1, and it's very easy, okay? So, we're going to use what's called inversions. So we got E. So if our pentatonic position 1 of E major is right here, okay? So 9, 12, 9, 11, 9, 11, 9, 11. It's an emergency. 9, 12, 9, 12. Okay, so we got position 1. Now, those 3 notes are all the notes we need to make up an E chord, and they're right in position 1. Okay, so any of those notes are going to work great over E major, the chord. You also have these 2 notes from this shape of an E chord, right? So those are also notes out of the E chord, including the root note right here. Okay, so you got okay, so those are all going to sound great over an E chord. Now, when we go to the B, if we just want to stick in one spot, you've got B notes in there as well. The easiest shape to remember, right? So we've gone from E. If you can find the root note of your next chord, B, right here, if you remember that this finger, in this shape, this D shape, anytime you find the note of the next chord on the B string, if you just remember that this shape goes with it, you can find that chord. So I know that this is a B note. I'm going to use this D shape, and I got my B chord right here. So say, just for instance, if I wanted to find a D chord, right, and I was looking for a D chord with this shape, I just got to find the D note. Well, a D note's right there. Oh, look at that. It's a real D chord. Trick 1. Okay, so chords. E, B. Now, obviously, if the B chord's right here, we can take this exact same shape and move it down a whole step, and you're going to have A. Now, along with the B chord, the A chord is going to have one note that's not in the pentatonic scale. But what you're going to see is this is how the E major scale, not major pentatonic, but the major scale is made. Okay, so we got this note. When we go down to A, this note. Both of those notes are not in the E major pentatonic scale. They're in E major. But they give you a ton of melodic options, right? So this is why the chord shapes are super important, because you don't have to just, right? You can, right? You can use lots of other note choices, right? Just by those 2 notes, you have an infinite amount of options that you can go from there. Now, C sharp minor, it's basically position 1 of E major pentatonic, right? Look at that chord, right? So you every single note, and it's going to work, right? So okay. So if we bend that note up right there, that bends to our C sharp note too. So remember that over this chord. Okay, so we have E, B, A, C sharp minor, back to B. So we got so I didn't have to move. It was super melodic. Now, this is just for an example, right? If I was going to write something, obviously, you could make it sound a little more soulful. You could use bending to cover the same note over multiple chords, which I'm going to show you. That's another one of the tips, right, is bending licks. Lots of stuff that you can do, but for all intensive purposes and just learning how to be melodic, just make it dum-dum. Super dum-dum. You're just going over the shapes and make sure you're hitting the notes within one shape of your pentatonic scale. So again, E. Right, I'm hitting those notes. Okay, so we got and then we got our A chord. And then we got our B again. Right? Don't have my Steve Vai hands on today. Then we got A. Right? Right, so when you get to the B chord, you know, just as long as you're hitting one of those notes, you can go. There we go. Right, then we got A. Or. Right, you can also hit the E over the A chord. That'll work too, but. And then we got. Check it out when you go to a B chord. If you have this B chord right here, so we went. Well, the third of the B is right here. It's also the same note as this. So when we did, you can do that note here, right? Same note. So you can go. And resolve back into that E. It's a super cool thing you can do. You can slide, right? So we went from C sharp minor. Right? That's the minor third in that chord. And then we're going to go to the major third in our B chord. So, right, there's our B note. And we're going back to E, so I'll trace the E chord. Root, fifth, root. Okay? Okay, now I did the exact same thing. I moved down to position 4 of E major pentatonic. Check this out real quick. So the whole idea, biggest melodic soloing tip ever is know the chord shapes in the positions, okay? So position 4. Let's go over it real quick. We got 4, 7, 4, 7. D string is 4, 6. G is 4, 6. So we got 5-7 on the B, and then we got 4-7. Okay, now chord progression again: E major, B major, A major, C sharp minor, back to B major. Okay, so E chord. Remember our little trick? Find the E note on the B string. Ah, look at that, it's right in position 4. Okay, now B, we got a couple options. We can go right here, right? So we got the root in the 3rd of the B chord. Okay, again, that's right outside the scale, but it's one of those cool notes. Right, so. Okay, so we got here, E, B. You also have here for B. Right, so you got. Sorry. Wish my hands were like a quarter, and my fingers like a 1/4 inch longer on each one, and I'd be set. Okay, so C sharp minor, or sorry, the A, right, is right here, right out of that position. So we got E, B, or A chord, right? So that gives us a cool. And then our C sharp minor chord's right here, so we can use these 3 notes. Or and then we got our B, or we can go into B, the 3rd. Watch this, back to E. Okay, and the cool thing was when we did that slide over the B chord, we went B note, right? Sliding into the 5th of B. We're setting up for our E chord, E note, another note out of the E, sliding up, root of the E. So we got A, and then we can bend up to the C sharp minor chord. And then back to the B. Or we could go. Okay, so it's all about the chords. We get so fixated on learning a scale and thinking that's going to be the key to soloing. It is a huge part of it, but don't think of the scale being the most important part. It is important, but it's almost secondary to being able to see the chords inside of it. Huge, huge, huge. I promise you, if you spend 15 minutes a day trying to take it any chord progression, say it's E major, A major, look up what the 7 chords are, right, in an E major chord progression. Figure out how to find the notes of those chords in, say, one position, like position 1. We just did position 4. Find all of those little options within each one of those scales. Then get, there's tons of jam tracks out there, right? So if you find a jam track, it doesn't have to be these chords, right? Say it's a 1-4-5 in blues, E major. Find the E, the A, and the B chords, right, within those scales. Same thing applies with any chord progression. First, find out whether it's major or minor. In this case, we're using major. And then find all of those chord shapes within one position of your major pentatonic. Then move on to another position. I would say the 3 most common positions used for pentatonic and soloing are position 1, position 2, and position 4. If you can get that just hammered in your brain with those 3, obviously, all of them are important to be able to move around, but those 3 predominantly are where most of the solos happen. you find it in those, the chords in those 3 positions, you are freaking gold. And I stress that so much, like, you've got to know, because that, I swear, is the secret so many people are looking for. And it really helped me, and I'd been playing for a long time before the light bulb went ding. Oh my gosh, chords are important. So anyways, if you like what you see, by all means, spread the word far and wide. Tell your friends. Always check below the videos. Sometimes there's links down there with goodies. There's websites. There's free jam tracks sometimes. There's videos that aren't on YouTube. So check down below in the description box. There's always a link to a surprise, a blue light special, a flash sale, a something or other. Just, can you tell I want you to go down there just for fun? You know, check it out. You never know. You might learn something more. Again, you guys are awesome. Thanks so much for the support. We'll catch you next time.